and a portfolio. So now we would talk about the program domains as advocated by PMI in their standard for program management version 3. So there are basically 5 domains which are defined. At the center lies the program lifecycle, so through which you would manage a whole program end to end. And we have strategy alignment as one domain, benefits management as another, and stakeholder engagement and program governance. So these are the 5 domains which essentially should help any program manager into achieving what we set out as per the program mandate for the organization. So let's first talk about strategy alignment. So what is strategy alignment? So every program that is being executed in an organization needs to align itself to the organizational strategy through the interface provided by a portfolio. So ideally, each program, when we are defining a program, we would provide a program business case which justifies the need for program to be executed and also states how it would align with the organizational strategy or help the organization in its achieving its vision. So a business case can be either at a very low level or it can be a detailed one as well. Now, who would prepare this business case? So it is again customized for each organization. Ideally, we say the program manager should be coming in right at the program definition phase, so he understands the vision of the organization and how the program actually is contributing for the organization's strategy achievement. So it's the program manager who is ideally supposed to be preparing a business case. And also as part of strategy alignment, we would have a program plan, not a program management plan. It's a program plan which would primarily contain the program vision, the program's mission statement, the goals, and the objectives. So these would be defining how the program actually helps in aligning itself to the organizational strategy. So the program vision should somehow match to the organizational vision or should be contributing to the organizational vision statement. And the program mission statement describes the purpose of the program and reason why it exists. It also describes the philosophy and values by which the program will be executed and the environment in which the program operates. Then the goals and objectives of the program. So the goals should be clearly defined so the success can be measured. If the goals are ambiguous, you can never measure whether a program is successful or not. Now come the program benefits. Benefits would be managed as part of benefits management. So there is a benefits life cycle that we can talk about, which again interfaces throughout the program life cycle. So as part of benefits life cycle, we have different processes which are defined as benefits identification, benefits analysis and planning, benefits delivery, benefits transition, and benefits sustainment. So when we say benefits identification, as a program, what benefits you are going to contribute to the organization. So we need to identify those benefits. Then list them out, and benefits, as part of benefits analysis and planning, we define and prioritize various components and define benefits metrics if possible. So in most of the cases we should try and define the metrics, so which will again help in understanding or monitoring or even validating the success criteria. Establish a benefits realization plan means at what different phases of a program what benefits you will be realizing. So why we say this again is in some programs it may be that the benefits can be realized only at the end of the program, but in certain programs benefits can be realized phase wise as certain components of the program are being executed and provide the project deliverables to the program. So you might have 4 or 5 projects under a program. When those projects complete, you could achieve certain level of benefits, or in certain cases you may not achieve any benefits till all the component projects in the program are completed. So benefits realization plan necessarily states at what phase of program you are going to achieve those benefits which you have identified. And it also helps in mapping the benefits into a program management plan. So the benefits management plan and the program management plan would be interfacing with each other. So next part of benefits management life cycle is benefits delivery. So where we monitor the components, that is various projects that are being executed as part of the program. And we also maintain a benefits register to understand at what stage these benefits would be realized and monitor them, and report benefits to the program governance board as well as different stakeholders as and when they are achieved. Benefits transition. Now, in many organizations, programs generally don't interface into operations, but in certain organizations they do. So how do you transition these benefits into operations and then look to sustain those benefits as part of routine operations of the organization? So that's where the benefits transition plan comes in. It consolidates the coordinated benefits and how it transfers. It states how the benefits would be transitioned to operations. And benefits sustainment plan. So as part of your ongoing operations of the organization, you should be able to monitor the performance of benefits, whether you are continuously realizing those benefits which you have realized as part of initial program lifecycle execution. So that's basically about benefits management. So next comes the stakeholder management or stakeholder engagement. So this is a very, very important aspect of even project management or any management for the matter. So it's a major contributor to the success of a program or a project. Identifying the stakeholders, major stakeholders primarily who could impact your program in a positive or negative way, is very key to the success of the program. So as part of stakeholder engagement, the processes that are underlying would be stakeholder identification, stakeholder engagement, planning, and the actual engagement itself. At a high level, whenever a program is defined, you would already have a major stakeholders or the important stakeholders in project program sponsor, or the governance board, or the portfolio manager. You would also have the program managers. If it's a big program under which there are sub-programs that are running. So majority of the stakeholders would be defined right at the program definition stage itself. So what you would need to identify would be the stakeholders who would be impacted either positively or negatively by the program. And then how they can influence the program, the level of influence they would have, which would help you in creating a stakeholder engagement plan as to what their expectations are, how open they are to accept the change that you are going to bring in as part of the program, their attitude towards the program, okay, and also the attitude of the sponsors towards the program. Stakeholders' expectation of the program benefits delivery, and the degree of support or opposition to the program benefits from the stakeholders. So as part of engagement planning, we majorly look at even the negative stakeholders as well. It is very easy to go with a vision that, okay, we are going to ignore the negative stakeholders, but that would lead to a major impact to a program. It may result in a program failure as well. So the key to success of a program from a program manager perspective is to look for opportunities or methods or any alternatives on how you could convert these negative stakeholders into positive stakeholders. So whether it is through proper communication or even through understanding of their negative influences, having discussions with them, and convert them to positive stakeholders. So as part of engagement plan, we even decide or arrive at the various levels of communication, detail of communication for the stakeholders. And then we actually engage ourselves with the stakeholder. And it is a continuous program activity right from the beginning of a program life cycle to the end of program life cycle. Next comes program governance. So as part of program governance, we would have a program governance board who would normally be monitoring the program progress and are responsible to authorize various components under the program, provide necessary funding to the program at various levels through monitoring, through advising the program sponsor on the progress of the program. And as part of program governance, program manager himself would be monitoring how the projects are executed or the components are executed under the program. Also have a governance meetings internally for the program team to monitor various risks, issues, and how the projects are using the funding that is being provided to them, or if any risks that are coming in from projects can impact the program, or even if need an escalation to a governance board. So all these aspects are practically looked into as part of governance. Now, how these domains or where these domains exist across a program life cycle? If you ask that question, all these 4 domains exist across program life cycle. So throughout the program life cycle, we would continuously look for confirming that the program still is in line with the strategy of the organization through strategy alignment processes. We continuously monitor and validate that the program is able to deliver the benefits that are expected to be realized by the organization through this program. We engage with the stakeholders throughout the program life cycle and provide a governance to the program throughout the life cycle. So those are the program domains and how they interface with each other. So let's now look at a program life cycle.